Hi, I'm Bobo, and today we're going to talk about how to buy a house in Hong Kong. Becoming a homeowner is one of the biggest life milestones you can reach, and undertaking research can feel daunting, especially when you don't know where to start, and especially when you remember that Hong Kong is one of the world's most expensive housing markets. But it might interest you to know that a ton of first-time projects have been going up for sale at cheaper rates as of late. So if you've been sitting on the idea of buying a house, it might be time to get up and get your foot on the property ladder. Whether you're a foreigner living in Hong Kong or just somebody curious about the house buying process, keep watching for a step-by-step guide to buying a house in Hong Kong. Question: can you afford your house? This is one of the two major things you'll be asking yourself, and be honest with yourself, because house buying is expensive. And the last thing you want to do is go to sleep in your new house freaking out about how you're going to pay your mortgage. This is why there's so much prep that happens before you purchase your new home. Now, some keywords you'll encounter include but aren't limited to stamp duty, mortgage. So where exactly do we start? The first thing you'll need to do is plan your budget. Research Hong Kong's mortgage policies and stamp duty rates so you have a better idea of Hong Kong's property market conditions. Now, just for reference, stamp duty rates in Hong Kong were recently dropped for first-time buyers, meaning that the 100 Hong Kong dollars stamp duty was raised from 2 million to 3 million Hong Kong dollars. But non-permanent residents might have to pay a large sum in additional stamp duty nonetheless. So factor this into your budget accordingly, and note that the typical mortgage in Hong Kong is 60%. You can also use mortgage calculators and valuation tools on bank websites or our Square Foot website to help you gauge your financial situation and repayment ability. This in turn helps you set a realistic budget for yourself as you find your new home. Step 2. The house hunting begins. Today, there are countless resources you can use to find the best house for your needs. And the best way to do that is by working with a licensed real estate agent. This is the most time-efficient option because they will have the resources to locate better deals with your needs in mind and help you negotiate home purchase prices in Hong Kong. It's also quite common to walk into a real estate agency and find an agent directly. So if you don't have a specific agent in mind, this is definitely a viable option. Something else to note is that in Hong Kong, sole contract agreements are rare. So you'll find that a landlord may work with many agencies to sell one property. This means that you should be careful about which real estate agency you choose to do site visits with, because when you do a visit, you will also usually sign an agreement with the agency committing you to use their services exclusively for a certain period of time. So signing this agreement would probably complicate matters if you decide after a site visit that you would prefer to work with another agency instead.
Another alternative is to scour listings on local services online, but be smart about it. This means you should be mindful of scams, don't take house photos at face value, and of course, visit the property in person before making any purchases.
Once you have your eye on a house, the third thing you'll need to do is conduct a property valuation on your chosen home. In this process, a surveyor assesses your property, its condition, size, and layout, among other things. And go to several banks for your property valuation just to get the most accurate figure on your property, according to market value, and ensure that you're paying a fair price for your home. It's safe to say that having an accurate valuation on your new home can also help you in negotiations. On this note, another thing you can do is check the current transaction price of your chosen home on real estate websites just so you can get an accurate ballpark figure on the price of your new home. This will also boost your chances of securing a mortgage because it's less likely that you'll secure a loan if your home is 10% above or below market value. Step 4. Once you've negotiated with the vendor and reached a suitable price, you will sign a provisional sales and purchase agreement and give a deposit to the vendor. This deposit is 5% of the purchase price. So for instance, if your new home is 50 million Hong Kong dollars, you would be paying a deposit of 2.5 million Hong Kong dollars. Do note that Hong Kong banks only accept mortgage applications after you sign the provisional agreement. This means you'll have to pay your deposit first, so really make sure you've done your research on your property valuation. Fast forward about 2 weeks, you'll sign a formal sales and purchase agreement. You'll also make a second deposit, which means that you've now paid a total of 10% of the purchase price. This is also the time you'll typically be expected to pay stamp duties as well. Some factors that will affect the price you pay are whether you're a first-time buyer, whether you're a Hong Kong permanent resident, and how long the vendor has held the property for. All right, it's time to apply for a mortgage. There are several documents you will need for this, such as the last 3 to 6 months of bank statements and income proof. So your bank gets a comprehensive overview of your earnings and expenses and determines in turn how much they are willing to lend. This income-based method is called debt servicing ratio. Now, when you're self-employed or you do commission-based work, you'll have to supply additional documents, and you might only be able to secure a mortgage of 80% at most. There are two main types, the H plan and P plan.
Without diving into the specifics, H plan refers to the HIBOR mortgage plan. HIBOR stands for the Hong Kong Interbank Offered Rate. This is the base rate that closely follows interest rates in the money market. Banks offer 1, 3, 6, and 12-month HIBOR tenors, but the 1-month tenor is most common in Hong Kong. The key thing to know about the H plan is that it fluctuates, so you can save interest when HIBOR interest rates are low. However, you will have to account for fluctuations in the amount that you pay in your mortgage. So if you think you can handle these changes, then you can consider choosing the H plan.
The P plan mortgage refers to prime-based mortgage. Interest rates here are based on the Hong Kong dollar prime rate, not market movement. So this is a good plan for you if you prefer more stability in your repayment amount. Ultimately, assess your financial situation and go with the plan you feel most comfortable with. Step 6. Assuming that your mortgage gets approved, you can finally hire a solicitor to help you carry out your transaction. Congratulations, you're now a Hong Kong homeowner. So let's recap the house buying process. First, set your budget. Research Hong Kong's mortgage policy and stamp duty rates and use the mortgage calculators and valuation tools on bank websites to help. Second, hire a real estate agent as you embark on your house hunting journey. They can help you find and negotiate the best deals, which leads us to step 3, conducting a property valuation with several banks to ensure that you get an accurate figure. 4, sign the provisional and formal sales and purchase agreements and pay deposits and stamp duties as needed. Then step 5, gather all your documents and selecting either the H plan or P plan, apply for your mortgage. Now, provided that the bank has approved your mortgage, amazing! You are now a homeowner. Now let's move on to the key things to consider. First things first, location. Your location is critical for several reasons. For example, you could choose to live farther away from the city center in a Cyclone Village house. But if you don't own a car and you're commuting to Central for work, it's going to be a struggle to get up extra early every day unless you're an early riser. And even still, the commute time might be off-putting. Considering that much of Hong Kong is known for its convenience, where you live also directly affects the amenities and services you have access to, such as gyms and restaurants. So unless you drive, consider prioritizing convenience. If you're an early riser or a parent hoping to put your kids to bed early, an ideal neighborhood for this kind of lifestyle would be quieter at night. So ensure that your lifestyle is compatible with that of your new home. As for districts, Hong Kong Island and Kowloon are popular choices for foreigners as they're closer to Central, the city's financial hub. On that note, if you're working closer to the city center, avoid living in areas of the new territories, which may make your commute more inconvenient. As a rule of thumb, properties located closer to MTR stations are generally more expensive, so bear this in mind when house hunting. Another thing, price. As the first thing we discussed in budgeting for your mortgage, it goes without saying that determining the price of your property is crucial. But don't worry, follow the steps above, do thorough financial prep, and chances are you'll be just fine. Next, when viewing flats, pay attention to humidity, water leakage, thin walls, and poor ventilation. Even if your property is low priced, you might have to end up paying a ton in maintenance or renovation fees. So if you'd prefer to avoid this, make sure your property is more or less intact. How safe is your living environment? Overall, Hong Kong is relatively safe. But if you have children or often finish up work late, take into account your environment's safety levels and adjust if necessary. For example, you might live in a village house, or you might want to live in a village house for the nature, but you don't love the idea of walking back to your house in the dark. In this case, you might feel more comfortable living in an apartment complex with security guards on each block. One thing that Hong Kong parents really keep in mind is the school net. And this is because the city is divided into 36 school nets for its primary one admission system. So parents essentially decide on their child's school choices based on the school net to which their home address belongs. So make sure your new address is compatible with your ideal school district. Now, there are 4 major school nets you should know. Net 11, which is the Central and Western District, Net 12 for Wan Chai, Net 34, Ho Man Tin, and Net 41, Kowloon City. Many of Hong Kong's top schools are in these nets, so properties here are definitely more competitive and landlords may price them in these areas accordingly. So let's recap. The key things to consider are price, location, convenience, living environment, security, maintenance issues, and if you have or plan to have children, school districts. Thanks for watching. If you've made it to the end and decided on second thought you would prefer to rent, check out our last video on renting in Hong Kong. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to Square Foot for future videos like this. Bye!